Let me start with some questions that might change the way you see your life. What if your results are not the problem? What if your habits are not the real issue? What if the real driver behind everything, your discipline, your consistency, your choices, your relationships, is something deeper? What if the real question is not what am I doing, but who am I becoming? Hello and welcome back to the Mentium Podcast. Here's the truth that most people overlook. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your identity. You don't stay consistent because of motivation. You stay consistent because of who you believe you are. You don't sabotage yourself because you were lazy. You sabotage yourself because part of you still identifies with an older version of you. And until identity shifts, behavior will always snap back. Today's episode is about that invisible force, identity. Not the identity you post, not the one you perform, but the identity you quietly believe when no one is watching. Because identity shapes everything. Let's make this simple. If someone believes I'm not disciplined, they will unconsciously avoid structure, justify inconsistency, interpret mistakes as proof, hesitate before committing. But if someone believes I am becoming someone who shows up, they respond differently. They return after missing. They adapt instead of quit. They forgive themselves faster. They persist longer. Same situation, different identity, different outcome. Behavior is downstream from belief. Most people try to change behavior without touching identity. They say, I want to work out. I want to be more patient. I want to be more focused. But they never ask, do I believe I am somebody capable of that? If your identity says I am always inconsistent, then every missed day feels like confirmation. Identity becomes a filter. And filters shape interpretation. That's why identity work is not motivational. It is structural. Now, let's move to something subtle. Sometimes the hardest part of growth is letting go of who you've been. If who you've been isn't serving you, you might say, I've been always the responsible one. I am the one who fixes things. I am the one who struggles. I am the shy one. I am the overthinker. Or I am not consistent. These statements feel factual. But the truth is they are stories. And stories shape behavior. Sometimes identity was formed in childhood through trauma, through failure, through praise, or even through comparison. And even when you outgrow the circumstances, you keep the identity. You might not be the same person, but you are still living from an old label. Here's the challenging part. Growth requires grief. You must let go of the comfort of who you were to become who you are meant to be. Even if the old identity was familiar, even if it protected you once, even if it made sense at the time. Identity evolution is uncomfortable because it asks you to step into uncertainty. But without identity shift, discipline feels forced. Consistency feels fragile. Change feels temporary. Here is the empowering truth. Identity is not declared. It is built. And it's built through repetition. You don't just wake up disciplined. You become disciplined by repeating small disciplined actions. You don't wake up confident. You become confident by repeatedly choosing courage. You don't wake up patient. You become patient by practicing restraint. Each action casts a vote, not for your goal, but for your identity. When you show up tired, return after missing, choose care over punishment, speak up once, keep going gently, you are casting a vote for the person you are becoming. And the more votes you cast, the more believable the identity becomes. This is why minimum standards matter. This is why returning matters. This is why consistency beats intensity. You are not trying to prove something. You are trying to build something, an identity that feels stable enough to support your growth. Let's talk about identity in community. Identity is not built in isolation. It is reinforced in community. If you surround yourself with people who normalize inconsistency, people who mock discipline, people who avoid growth, your identity will adjust. But if you surround yourself with people who show up, people who reflect, people who stretch, people who stay accountable, your identity evolves faster. This is why community matters, not for applause, but for reinforcement. You become more of what your environment affirms. If your circle affirms growth, you grow. If your circle affirms your excuses, you stay. Identity is social, so choose carefully. You have to become before you achieve. Most people chase outcomes, but sustainable change begins with becoming. Instead of asking, what do I want to achieve? Ask who I want to become. Outcomes fluctuate. Identity stabilizes. If you choose someone who shows up, someone who reflects, someone who adapts, someone who stays, the outcomes follow. But if you chase outcomes without identity shift, you will still feel fragile. Becoming comes before achieving, always. To end this episode, let me leave you with this. You are becoming someone, whether you are conscious of it or not. Every day, through small choices, you are reinforcing an identity. The real question is it intentional? You don't need to change everything overnight. You need to cast better votes. You need to say, I am someone who returns. I am someone who adapts. I am someone who grows. Not perfectly, not dramatically, but consistently. Because identity shapes everything. And who you are becoming matters more than what you were chasing. Until next time, take care of yourself and your loved ones. I am Madiama, and this is Mentium. Peace.